أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله فاطر السماوات والأرض جاعل الملائكة رسلا أولي أجنحة مثنى وثلاث ورباع يزيد في الخلق ما يشاء إن الله على كل شيء قدير. ما يفتح الله للناس من رحمة فلا ممسك لها وما يمسك فلا مرسل له من بعده وهو العزيز الحكيم. يا أيها الناس اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم هل من خالق غير الله يرزقكم من السماء والأرض لا إله إلا هو فأنى تؤفكون. وإن يكذبوك فقد كذبت رسل من قبلك وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. يا أيها الناس إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور. إن الشيطان لكم عدو فاتخذوه عدوا إنما يدعو حزبه ليكونوا من أصحاب السعير. الذين كفروا لهم عذاب شديد والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير. صدق الله العظيم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. وجه بالجيل. जहाँ रोज़े पाके खैरुल वरा है वो जन्नत नहीं है तो फिर यार क्या है। जहाँ रोज़े पाके खैरुल वरा है वो जन्नत नहीं है तो फिर और क्या है। कहाँ में कहाँ मदीने की गलियाँ ये किस्मत नहीं है तो फिर यार क्या है। मोहम्मद की अज़मत को क्या पूछते हो कि वो साहिबे काबा को सैन ठहरे। मोहम्मद की अज़मत को क्या पूछते हो कि वो साहिबे काबा को सैन ठहरे। बशर की सरे مہمان نوازی یا عظمت نہیں ہے تو پھر یار کیا ہے بشر کی سرے عرش مہمان نوازی یا عظمت نہیں ہے تو پھر اور کیا ہے جو آسی کو کمری میں اپنی چھپا لے جو دشمن کو بھی زخم کھا کر دعا دے جو آسی کو کمری میں اپنی چھپا لے جو دشمن کو بھی زخم کھا کر دعا دے اسے اور کیا نام دے گا زمانہ وہ رحمت نہیں ہے تو پھر اور کیا ہے اسے اور کیا نام دے گا زمانہ وہ رحمت نہیں ہے تو پھر اور کیا ہے جہاں روزے پاکے خیر الورا ہے وہ جنت نہیں ہے تو پھر اور کیا ہے وہ جنت نہیں ہے تو پھر اور کیا ہے
ماشاء اللہ ہمارے ڈاکٹر صاحب تشریف لائے ہیں آتے رہتے ہیں آپ سب جانتے بھی ہیں ڈاکٹر صاحب دارالعلوم سے فارغ ہیں ہمارے حضرت نور اللہ کے مجاز بھی ہیں اور فارغ ہونے کے بعد گریجویٹ بھی ہوئے اور سلفر یونیورسٹی مانچسٹر میں لیکچرر بھی ہیں ابھی پریسٹن میں بھی لیکچرر ہیں اور دارالعلوم بولٹن میں استاد الحدیث ہیں اور ہماری رحیمی اکیڈمی میں شیخ الحدیث ہیں اس لیے آپ حضرات جم کے بیان سنیں اور استفادہ کریں اللہ پاک ڈاکٹر صاحب کے سفر کو قبول فرمائے یہاں آئے ہیں یہاں سے کیمبرج جائیں گے انشاءاللہ وہاں 2-3 دن رہیں گے پھر وہاں سے واپس ہوں گے تو ان کی بزی شیڈیول میں ہم کو بھی ایک دن مل گیا اللہ ان کو جزائے خیر بھی اور ان کا سفر آسان بھی فرمائے بیان کو مفید بنائے آئیے ڈاکٹر صاحب
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ الحمد للہ حمدا كثيرا مباركا طيبا فيه مباركا عليه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى وصلى الله على النبي المصطفى المجتبى صلاة تطيب بها القلوب وتكشف بها الغموم والكروب وتغفر بها الذنوب صلاة وسلاما دائمين متلازمين إلى يوم جمع الثقلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون صدق الله المولان العظيم وقال الله عز وجل الحمد لله فاطر السماوات والأرض صدق الله المولان العظيم وعن ابي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال حبيب الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ان هذا القرآن سبب ترفه بيد الله وترفه بأياديكم فتمسكوا به فإنه لن تضلوا بعدي أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Respected scholars, memorizers of the Holy Quran, distinguished guests, brothers, it's very nice to be amongst you once again. May I ask, have you all had a fallout with each other while you were sitting so far apart? please come nearby. This is the month of Ramadan, love, compassion, friendship. Please come nearby. Let us benefit from each other, not leave so much space. If you've got some medical issue, I understand that you will need to lean or sit on a chair. Otherwise, you're young people. MashaAllah, it seems you've got an annual gym membership, so you should be coming nearer to the member as much as possible. MashaAllah, once congratulations to you all. You'll be completing the Holy Quran, the Salatul Tarawih this evening. This is an amazing achievement. But the question we need to ask ourselves, what have we learned by listening to the Quran? When the Quran is recited, the Quran, Allah Rabbul Alameen describes the Quran itself and the experience of listening to the Quran, the ethic and adab of listening to the Quran. The Quran says, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا. When the Quran is recited, listen to it attentively. Remain absolutely silent. If you're listening to it attentively, brothers, you will not need to ask the one sat next to you how many rakats has Hafiz done. You will know if you're listening to it attentively. This is the adab of listening to the Quran. Remain absolutely silent, full focus that these are the words of my Creator. As Qarisan just recited, Alhamdulillah, Fatiris Samawati wal Ard. In different places of the Quran, Allah introduces Himself. And here the introduction in the Surah 35 of the Holy Quran, Surah Fatir. Fatir is reference to a being that creates which has no prototype to follow up. That's the original version. That's Allah's power. So the Holy Quran, once we listen to it attentively, you absorb the spiritual light of the Quran within yourselves. Because the Quran says, it is Nur, the Quran says it's Nur. فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا. So Taghabun, you will have heard this a few days ago. That this is preceded in the above ayat before it. زَعَمَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَلَّنْ يُبْعَثُوا قُلْ بَلَا وَرَبِّي. That the people who disbelieve claim that there will be no resurrection. This is where the world is going towards. The world, if you look at the census data across the globe, next time when you go on Google, after Ramadan, not during Ramadan, after Ramadan, census data across the globe, you will see a pattern that people are moving away from believing in Allah, in Allah. People are slowly moving away and believing more in themselves than anything else. When that normally happens, the next thing people pick up is superstitions, which is what used to happen before Islam in Makkah al-Mukarramah. So Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was sent with a mission, and he was the man. So the man and his mission. This is what we need to understand. The Quran is Nur. فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. So I mentioned زَعَمَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, that disbelievers claim that the resurrection will not happen. This is an ideology of today's day and time, where they will say, نَمُوتُ وَنَحْيَا وَمَا يُهْلِكُونَ إِلَّا الدَّهْرُ. You heard this a few days ago, this verse. We live, we die, and only time will destroy us. Finish. That's our life. You live once, you enjoy it. This is the type of ideology the Quran came to eliminate. Quran says, فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ, believe in Allah, وَرَسُولِهِ, and His Messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam, وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا, and the Nur that we have sent down. The Quran is Nur. In a long hadith, Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala says, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam informed us, educated us once, that before the end of time, there will be trials and tribulations. So the companion asked, Ya Rasulullah, what is the solution to that problem? Islam is a very solution-orientated religion. It's a thinking man's religion. It's ideal for the Western world. And your contribution in Canada, like I said in the other masjid, you have an election coming up, and I'm not a politician, by the way, I'm not sat here to canvass for my vote. What is your contribution, not to any particular party, but to Canadian society? And the biggest contribution that you have is to share the gems of the Holy Quran with wider society. Your youngsters, mashallah, speak more in a Canadian accent than the Canadians themselves. Your opportunity is to take that knowledge of the Quran and give to the outside world. This Quran is not a monopoly for the Muslims. The Quran says, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ جَمِيعًا. O mankind, it doesn't say O Muslims, O Jews, O Christians, O Zoroastrians, or this or that. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ, say, O mankind, I am a messenger to you all. So if our Mr. Musk is successful in his mission to conquer Mars, then Rasulullah is still the messenger for Mars. If the other business person whose name I forget wishes to open some kind of a holiday resort on the moon, then Rasulullah will be the prophet of the moon. This Quran will be for the moon, will be for the Mars or any other planet that people wish to, human beings need to conquer. But our role in all of this, to salvage mankind from the self-destruction button is وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا. Believe in that nur that Allah Rabbul Alameen has sent, and that is the Quran. Hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recited, Sayyidina Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu ta'ala anhu says, Inna hazal Qur'an sababun. This Quran is a means. Tarfuhu biyadillah. One end of this means is in the possession of Allah Rabbul Alameen. The word in the hadith is biyadillah. Be careful how we translate it. Don't say the hand of Allah is in the possession of Allah. It's not to be taken literally. It is our iman and the expression of that is passed down of understanding such scenarios that we believe in Allah as He is. We cannot imagine Allah as a physical form. So this is in the possession of Allah, one end, and the other end is in your possession. So whoever is holding firmly onto the Quran is firmly linked with Allah. This is the message of the Holy Quran. Link yourself with your Creator. فَتَمَسَّقُوا بِهِ. Because the hadith is saying, hold firmly onto this. As the Quran says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, in the fourth juz. Hold firmly onto بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ, i.e. بِكَلَامِ اللَّهِ, the words of Allah Rabbul Alameen. If you hold firmly onto the words of Allah Rabbul Alameen, Hadith says, لَن تَضِلُّوا بَعْدِي, you will never go astray. The Quran says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, you will not disunite. The reason for disunity is we're not holding on to the Quran. I said to you earlier on, Islam is a solution-focused. Our fiqh, Allah Rabbul Alameen bless the graves of our jurists, our scholars, whose knowledge we benefit from. They were always problem, solution. Islam is a solution-orientated religion. That your disunity, the core issue here is that you have gone away from your solution. We need to come back to that. And this is the reminder of the Quran, that this is the nur of Allah Rabbul Alameen. Hazrat Aqdas Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahib rahmatullahi alayhi, we fondly refer to as Hakim al-Ummah. We all should have at least one book of his, Beheshti Zewa. Hanif Bhai will know here. I'm pointing out Hanif Bhai because that's the only name I know from this crowd. Hanif Bhai, he mashallah will know that when the Gujarati community used to marry their daughters, they would give Beheshti Zewa as a gift. So he said, Quran Majid and Beheshti Zewa. Quran is Quran, of course, Beheshti Zewa, because you read that, you're going to be Mufti. Every rule is in there. So any ruling that the young girl, the princess of the father's house, is going to be the queen of her own house now, and to rule in that queen's house, you're going to need some rules and regulations. This. Hazrat Hakim al-Ummah, Hazrat Aqdas Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahib rahmatullah was asked once in an ulama gathering, Hazrat, I come across a hadith which is saying if you read Surah Yasin once, Allah Rabbul Alameen will give you the reward of 7 complete Quran. So I need to understand this better. How can Surah Yasin, reciting it once, be equal to 7 Quran? You mashallah have gone to Tarawih once. people coming from Bolton, mashallah, I thought I'd pick them out, so you welcome them. Mashallah, they've done already one Quran here, another Quran is happening, the Tahajjud Quran, we already Quran. So this would have been a shortcut just to recite Surah Yasin once. How can this be? So the genuine question by the alim to understand, how can we understand this logic? I said Islam is a very solution-orientated religion. Hazrat Abdas Maulana Shafaqi Thanvi Sahib Rahmatullah Hakim ul Ummat has written approximately 1300, 1400 books in his life. If you go to India, visit Thanavon, in the Uttar Pradesh area, UP area, and you will see that small area which is just a 3 or musalla space where he sat and wrote all these books, alhamdulillah. Go and visit the place where Hazrat Abdas Qutbul Aqtab Maulana Muhammad Zakaria Rahmatullahi Alayhi Rahmatul Wasiha wrote his books, such a small space that the Hazrat corrected him. 1 Yasin equals 10 Quran. So one answer to this, how come 1 Yasin, how long does it take to read Surah Yasin, brothers? 5 minutes. And normally that's on autopilot. Recite 1 juz of the Holy Quran, a decent, reasonable recital take you 20 minutes. So in 1 hour, 3 juz. And 30 juz, 10 hours. So how can 5 minutes of Quranic recitation be equal to 100 hours? The maths doesn't add up here. Hazrat Abbas Maulana Shafaqi Thanvi Sahib Rahmatullah explained that the answer is for the believer, the answer is within the Quran. Allah yudha'ifu liman yasha. Allah Rabbul Alameen multiplies the reward for whomever He wills. We are fasting, we are told at the beginning of Ramadan, 70 plus. And 70 is just a number in the Arabic language to give an indication of multiple rewards. This is the blessing of this month, that Allah Rabbul Alameen gives multiple rewards for whomever He wills. But then He explained that when the Quran is recited, Noor is entering the human heart. 5 minutes of Noor is not equal to 100 hours of Noor. This is the difference between 8 rakats of Taraweeh and 20 rakats of Taraweeh. Do you want a portion of Noor or do you want multiple portions of Noor? So the Quran is filling you with Noor, and this is why firmly hold on to it. This is what have we learned in this month of Ramadan that we are going to take away with us, that this Quran is not just for Ramadan, to read it, learn it, reflect upon it, act upon it, recite it, should be the every day-to-day thing. Let me give you an example of the UK. A few years ago, Hazrat Maulana will know, all these people from UK will know, there's a place called Stockport, not too far from Manchester. In Stockport, there was a group of elderly people who, when they were listening to Salatul Taraweeh, and mostly in Masajid, you have young people who do Salatul Taraweeh. You will not find this in any other religion. That a very young 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, hardly a beard, hair has come. You wouldn't, the father probably wouldn't trust that person, that child of his, with the keys to the house. But Allah has trusted that individual with the book of Allah. This is Allah Rabbul Alameen's mercy. So this group of elderly gentlemen was so inspired by this Salatul Taraweeh, by these young people, that these young people can recite Salatul Taraweeh. We're supposed to be elders. We're supposed to be wiser. We've seen life. We've got experience. Our hair has gone white. Why can't we read the Quran like this? So they made it their mission to learn the Quran sitting with the Imam Sahib. And, well, in those days, COVID hit. And so they were still inspired. If COVID will not stop us, so online they were learning. So you can do Zoom, you can do Teams. And through that they learned the Quran with Imam Sahib every day, a little bit. Few lines, then half a page, then 1 page. And within 1 year they completed the whole Quran. And all their aim was that the following Ramadan they complete the whole Quran, 1 para, 1 juz a day. In 30 days they complete the Quran so they can celebrate Eid in a way, yes, we achieved something. And they did it. Because I went there for that Khatam of this. 6 people there completed their Nazira Khatam, as it was called, looking inside. How many people, young people today are going through the maktab system and within a few years they are struggling to recite the Quran? That same Alhamdulillah, that same Yasin, that same Tabarak, that same Rahman, they are struggling to read which they may have known by heart. If there is no engagement with the Quran, the nur of Allah is not entering the heart. For the issues and challenges are outside Mr. World. I can go on to give you the challenges. When our children become disconnected with the Holy Quran, disconnected with namaz, salah, because the power of namaz is Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Namaz itself has that strength to stop an individual from wretchedness and evil behavior. Because in the big bad world, where there are so many challenges, how many of our children here will be doing university degrees to go into the corporate world, to go into the IT industry, go into the computer industry? So some of these, as you drive down the 441, what's the main road here? 441? 401. I've been away from Canada for a few times. 401. You just drive down 401, how many company names you will find when our kids will be working? That's the corporate world. Within that corporate world, Hazrat Maulana will have been teaching you greed is not good. Tama, hits is not good. In the corporate world, greed is good. In the corporate world, strive to make more and more money. Islam is teaching you survival and small provisions. Only stretch your legs as so long as your chadar, your sheet is. That's what Islam is teaching you. But the corporate world is teaching you, go for it. And if you have to trample on somebody to get to the next level, do it. Can you see the two worlds? And in that two worlds, to remain balanced, you need the nur of the Quran. So Hazrat Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahib Rahmatullah explained that when you're reading Surah Yasin once, that is inoculating within you, injecting within you, filling you with the nur of Allah Rabbul Alamin. This is giving you energy to go on to the next set of 2 rakats, next set of 2 rakats, to wake up at tahajjud, do your awwali, do your chash, do your salat tahajjud. But when you just keep on engaging with the Holy Quran, that Quran is having an impact. That Quran is giving you mental stability now. That Quran is your mental health, your spiritual health. That Quran here is giving you a vision. I am accountable to my Creator one day. And that is the belief that is going away. This is why I started off with the verse, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. The biggest lesson that we need to get out from the Quran and take away with us is our life should revolve around relying on Allah. If we don't have the fancy car that we desire, if we don't have the fancy watch or the fancy phone or the big house that we desire, work towards it. Nothing happens overnight. Ask these gentlemen here whose hairs are going white, like mine. Their experience of life is nobody becomes a millionaire before Fajr. It simply doesn't happen. Unless you're going to have a very rich uncle who's going to make you the heir of that estate. Slowly, slowly through halal means. If there is halal in your back pocket and halal going through your mouth, you will then not be deprived of the sweetness of your sustenance. Where your haram is in your pocket, if haram is entering your mouth, then there's a lot of Alamin who wants you to come against it. This is simple solutions from Islam. In Nu'man ibn Bashir radiallahu ta'ala anhu is the first baby that was in Medina al-Munawwara. A long hadith that Imam Muslim rahmatullahi alayhi narrates, al-halal bayyin wal-haram bayyin wal-baynahuma mushtabihat la ya'lamuhunna kathirun min an-nas. Halal has been openly declared. Haram has been openly clarified and explained. Between this is a grey area, doubtful items. وَمَنِ اتَّقَى الشُّبُهَاتِ اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ وَإِرْضِهِ. And he who is cautious and careful of staying away from this grey area has protected his religion, protected his honor and dignity. And the honor and dignity of a Muslim is Islam. وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ. He who dives into this grey area and doubtful area, يُوشِكُ أَنْ يَقَعَ فِيهِ. It is possible that he will soon slip into this and then move into the haram. Allah. The hadith further goes on to say, Rasulullah in this long, he says, Allah inna fil jasadi la mudqa. Within the human body there is a piece of meat. إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله. When that organ is well, healthy, the whole of your body is healthy. When that organ has corrupted, the whole of your system is corrupted. This is the heart itself. The heart is the pillar of worship. The ta'aleem, the discourses that you are listening to, the spiritual maxims, the wise words of our elders that you are listening to, the Holy Quran that you are listening to in the month of Ramadan, this Fadail al-A'mal that you are listening to here, all of that is to strengthen your spiritual heart. And the strongest form of injecting within yourself spirituality is the Quran. The Quran. This is the word of Allah. This is al-haq, absolute truth. In that corporate world that I was just referring to, 401, that is a world which is described as perversively confusing. Perversively, basically, in simple terms, very, very unclear and confusing. We don't know if something is right or wrong. We don't know if something is truth or false. We don't know whether something is lies or fact. But the Quran is saying, Quran is al-haq. Allah, one of the names of Allah is al-haq, the absolute truth. This is why we need to link up more and more in the 21st century with the Quran, because all the issues that are coming into our directions and problems is causing confusion. And this will get even more confusing. Let me explain you how. What time is it's done? 40. 7:40. What was I saying? Let me explain to you how it's going to get more confusing. And the younger generation will be aware a little bit about this, because as you go more into the 21st century, within 3-5 years you will have more and more artificial intelligence coming into your life. When Netflix started, it took about 3.5 weeks to get to 1 million users. Those in the computer science industry will know what I'm talking about. He's a master here. I'm going to learn this on the plane journey here. He's just such a master that I'm scared to sit next to him actually. But ChatGPT, which came out a couple of years ago, took 5 days to get to 1 million users. Then China came onto the scene and developed this app called DeepSeek. DeepSeek. And everybody's, I will be very careful because I'm in the masjid, everybody's pants got wet. But what has China done here? 5 days for ChatGPT to get to 1 million users. And China did it like this. Click of a finger. This is how the world is going. You know Netflix has just come out recently. You know ChatGPT, as I just told you 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And DeepSeek only came out a few months ago. This is the world we are living in. Such a fast pace, such a fast pace, such a fast pace. Allah. How do you find stability in such a fast age? There is one solution, brothers. This is the Quran. And such is Allah Rabbul Alameen's guarantee with this, that I mentioned. If you have 5 kuffars who are young people, and somebody at the back is thinking, is that bad people here? As you really achieve maturity, is he fit to lead us? Allah Rabbul Alameen, if you ask his father, would you give him the keys to your house? He said, no. We don't know whether he's going to close the gas properly, close the window properly, close the door properly. We don't know he's going to lock the back door properly. We don't know what's going to happen. But Allah Rabbul Alameen has given the Quran to that individual to protect. Because once the nur of Allah is in your heart, inshallah, Allah will protect you. And if your student, if your children are going to universities and colleges and you're worried what kind of an atmosphere or ambience, ask me, I know. I'll tell you with my eyes closed. I've been in that atmosphere and spent it for 30 years. The solution to that, Islamic solution orientated, is the Quran. Is your child waking up in the morning and performing salah? When they went to university, are they performing salah? When they going there, are they eating halal? And when they're coming home, if they've missed the salah, are they coming and making up that salah? Salah is your solution. Are they aware of their other responsibilities? If the child has Allahu Akbar in their heart, how many times in salat are we saying Allahu Akbar? Have you counted it? In every rakat, they have 5-6 times Allahu Akbar, times it by 20. How many times is Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar? Has Allahu Akbar entered our heart in the beginning of the Ramadan to this 27th night, where we're going to plead for Allah to forgive our shortcomings and our sins? How many times have we heard the word Allahu Akbar in the masjid? From the time the Muazzin says Allahu Akbar, time the Mukabbir says Takbir Tahrim Allahu Akbar, Imam says Takbir Tahrim Allahu Akbar, until Assalamu Alaikum, and the left Salam says Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullah. How many times is Allahu Akbar? Has Allahu Akbar entered our heart yet? If Allahu Akbar is into our heart, we will begin to understand why Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was visited by Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, what do you want me to do, O Ibrahim? Allah Rabbul Alamin sent me for your command here, that my Allah knows I am here, I am happy. This is when Allahu Akbar has entered. Perhaps Allahu Akbar has entered our heart. Quranic message was, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Upon Allah they should rely. Whatever the world's problems may be. When Allah Akbar entered Meccan society, within a few short years, Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam announced, when he was taunted, in Surah Rum you have this scenario, he was taunted, oh, the Romans have been defeated by the Persians, and the Persians are non-people of the book, they are our allies. Just like they defeated your people of the book, because the Christians believe in the book, you will be annihilated as well. Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam announced, very soon, you will be defeated. He was pointing towards Badr. And that Persian Empire and that Roman Empire will be the feet of the Muslims. To give you a deeper understanding of this, to put this into perspective, you all know what's happening between America and Russia and Ukraine. If I were to say to you and claim, today there's a big chess game going on here, and 10 years' time, Ukraine actually will be owning both Russia and both America. You would be thinking this Malana is really, really hungry today. By the way, I am. They be laughing. This is Rasulullah claim. Quran says within 9 years, this whole thing, world scenario is going to change. They changed. But that firm belief has to be there, because Allah Akbar had entered the companions' hearts. So within 313, who are these? 1,000 people? They're nothing in front of us. One individual is enough. If Allah Akbar is here. I could tell you the story of the Maldives Islands, where the honeymooners go. I don't know where people, honeymooners go from Canada. It's a long way to go to Maldives from here. One Hafiz changed the whole of that Maldives Islands. It's a group of islands. I don't have the time to do this at the moment. But when the key issue here is, what is our connection with our Creator? What is our engagement with the Quran? How many times encourage your children, give them extra Eid money, give them extra incentives to engage with the Quran. And if they're not picking up the Quran, then just tell them to open and look at the Quran. Because the Quran is Noor. Noor Mubin. Hadith describes, Quran describes itself, that Quran is Noor Mubin. Once you disconnect it, brothers, if we want to, we are praying to Allah Rabbul Alameen, Allah Rabbul Alameen give us the highest echelons of Jannatul Firdaus. Say Ameen. But if your son, your sibling, your daughter, your nephew, your niece is not with you on your dastarkhan on Eid day, would you be happy or unhappy? If family member is not there on Eid day, you would not be happy. So where is Quran? Where is so and so? Why are they missing this Eid biryani today? In the same way, when we go to Jannatul Firdaus, and our noble Lord will give His noble, generous provisions and hospitality. If there's somebody missing from the family member in that Dastakhan, are we going to be happy out of it? Because if that individual has lost his iman in this secular world and temporal world, where greed is good, to trample on somebody is good, to behave arrogantly is good, to boast how many followers I have is good. That is not the world of the Quran. The Quran has no problem with material wealth or material growth. Abdurrahman ibn Awf's wealth, if I describe how much he had and how much was their family inherited, how much was inherited by the family of Usman ibn Affan radiallahu ta'ala, and you'll be absolutely shocked. Hazrat Abdurrahman ibn Awf freed 30,000 slaves. Rasulullah freed 63. 30,000 slaves he freed. How much money did he have? But today he's radiallahu anhu wa radwan Allah Akbar. Next time you say, brothers, Allah Akbar, feel the sweetness of Allah Akbar in your feet. Feel the sweetness of going to Allah Akbar with this sinful forehead on the ground. This sinful forehead does not deserve to be on the ground with Allah. How many times have we lied with this tongue throughout the year? How many times have we sworn with this tongue throughout the year? How many times have we broken somebody's heart with this tongue throughout the year? Was this tongue fit and able to say Allahu Akbar? No, that's what Allah Rabbul Alamin knows that. This is why we need to turn to Allah Rabbul Alamin, not just for our shortcomings, but also for the favors of Allah Rabbul Alamin that He has upon us, and we have been so ungrateful. Tawbah is all about going from disobedience to obedience. Inaba is about going from unawareness, negligence, towards conscious awareness and conscientiousness. And for this, brothers, we will need to sit with the Quran, we will need to sit with the Mashayikh, and Allah Rabbul Alamin grant us the ability to recognize the truth as it is and follow it. Allah Rabbul Alamin give us the ability to recognize lies, deceit, roguishness, batil as they are, and grant us the ability to stay away from it. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين ربنا تقبل منا صيامنا وقيامنا وتلاوتنا آناء الليل وآناء النهار وتبرعاتنا وصدقاتنا ونوافلنا وفرائضنا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم الحقنا بنبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تفرق بيننا وبين حبيبنا صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم اجمعنا معه خير المجامع يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم اجعلنا من حزبه المفلحين ومن أتباعه المنصورين اللهم متعنا برؤيته وأسعدنا بشفاعته وأسقنا من حوضه الشريفة المباركة اللهم احيينا على سنته وتوفنا على ملته وبعثنا بجواره واحشرنا بقربه وأدخلنا معه إلى جنات الخلد التي وعد المتقون يا أرحم الراحمين يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث اللهم ربنا إنا نسألك خير ما سألك نبيك وحبيبك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذ منك نبيك وحبيبك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم برحمتك يا